All right. All right. So we are ready to roll here. Everything's going okay. All right.
Okay,
We're
I'm
good.
gonna start my stream. Hang
Okay.
on.
I already started
Started.
mine.
Okay.
Okay. All right. I'm going to get a YR onto the show here, there. All right. Couple of minutes, sir. Good evening, everybody. This is Arknolia and the Doctor here. And we're getting both Prince, Donatello, and YR onto the show there. We're going to get them on to discuss the first Deep Purple lineup, the Mark One lineup, which was
Well, we
Blackmore.
might get into Mark II, but
Okay, there. Mark Two, a little
we'll
bit
see.
there. Okay, there. I'm going to add YR to the show. And I messaged him earlier on when he asked what time, blah, blah, we're going to do our show, said usual. And I said, bring Prince with you, Prince Dontello. Okay, let's see what we goes on here. Give us a few minutes here.
Yeah, because Prince is an excellent student.
Yeah.
He's wanting to learn.
Yes, absolutely. I appreciate him a lot more. Now, YR, as you know, is live on his channel with Prince and Bullqueef over there, and we're not going to add Bullqueef to the conversation because he don't know jack shit about Deep Purple, let alone cooking his own food. And give us a couple of minutes here, and hopefully he'll respond there.
Well, if they can't come on, we'll start,
Oh yeah,
and then let them join us when they get rid of the other guy.
all right there, yeah, the big fat queefaholic there. All right, so okay. All right, still waiting on to see what's going on here. I don't know what the hell. He's unavailable. Now already. Okay, well, we'll have to wait a while for those guys to come in there. And in the meantime, we're going to be talking about Deep Purple, the first lineup there, which was, of course, Ritchie Blackmore, John Lord, Ian Paice, bassist Ron Simper, and vocalist Rod Evans.
Yep. And most people know the Mark II lineup, but
Yep.
the Mark One lineup had some. They had 3 albums.
Yeah, 3 albums that were released at Parlophone in UK there, and in the States they released it on this record label. What is it?
Tetragrammaton.
Tentagrandmaton, which, by the way, was started, for I understand, by Bill Cosby's manager.
Right.
Now, it released, of course, what's the name? I got to look up this Grand Tentum, because I'm interested about this label. Grand
Tetragrammaton.
Ten, Grand
No,
Ten,
Tetra.
Tet, Tetra,
Tetra.
T E T E R A,
No, Tetra.
T E T E T R A,
GRA. And then it should pop up.
G R G R A. Okay, got it right now. All right. Yeah, remember my spelling of certain words here. Let's see here. Okay. Let me look it up here because, there are many artists on certain labels that we don't know about until we find out at the last minute. It was founded in 1968 by music executives Roy Silver, Bruce Post Campbell, and also Martin Dean and comedian Bill Cosby. Silver
Right.
at the time was also Cosby's manager, and the term tetragrammaton refers to the unspeakable Hebrew name of God. The label's most successful the label's most successful act on that.
Had to be Deep Purple.
It was. That's what it listed here. Now, it was also this label, by the way, was also responsible for releasing the controversial Apple Records release from the same year, Unfinished Music Number 1 for two versions. This is the album that featured John and Yoko in the buff, covered with a paper bag. You know, it was recorded by both Lennon and Yoko, um, featuring nude photos of the two on the front and back. Now, the label stepped in as a distributor after Capitol Records, the usual U.S. distributor for Apple, and the Beatles there refused to release the album, citing a possible negative response from retailers. You know, now
Right.
Bill Cosby released an album of his own on that label titled 815 1215. Now
Right.
it was a double album and was also featured two albums by a comedian named Murray Roman titled You Can't Beat People Up and Have 'Em Say I Love You and A Blind Man's Movie. A number of the label's projects were left unissued. Many among these were a second album by the singer and songwriter named Elise Weinberg, and an album by Memphis musician named Captain Milk, who described himself as a flute picker.
Hmm. Yeah.
And Princess
That
and
Bill Cosby album
mhm,
was actually two shows, I
yes,
believe, in Las Vegas. The 8:15 show and the 12:15 show.
yeah,
Hence
absolutely.
the
I remember
title.
I had it there. By the way, there.
Yeah, I had
Let
that.
me. I had it as well there. Let me get a. Prince tried to contact me. I'm going to add the dude right now. Okay. Okay. Let's do this. You know, he tried to contact me. I know he tried to call here.
Yeah.
I'm going to get him on. Like I said, I'm going to get him on the call here because I definitely want to get him and YR on the show here. Let's see if he'll bring
Yeah,
YR with
because
him.
we haven't covered this first album yet.
There you are, Prince Donatello, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah,
What's up?
listen, there's some drama that was stirred up on Sean's View that YR's reacting to it.
Mm.
Me personally, I just don't want to dive into this. I'm so
Well, join.
tired, Doc, and
Join.
I'm so tired of it. And I'm not whining, I'm not complaining. I just don't want to deal with it. I don't want to deal with it. I was
Hey,
told
join
that
me. That makes two of us.
Yeah, join us.
I stay out of it.
Yeah.
This is what I told. No matter what Sean says about me, no matter what people stir up between me and him, personally, I don't give a fuck. I have no beef with Sean. I'm done arguing with him. So I'm not going to acknowledge me being doxxed. I'm not going to acknowledge the shit that goes on over here. I'm not going to acknowledge anymore because it's all fun and game. It's all bullshit at the end of the day. It's all
right.
bullshit.
Okay.
And I feel like the more I ignore it, the more I will be at peace. The more I acknowledge it, the more chaos is gonna I'm just gonna be adding fuel to the fire. So what I'm trying to do, and I'm trying to explain to YR and Bullfrog and Keith and Tony Revere, I have washed my hands with this. I am tired of adding fuel to the fire. I'm tired of it. Every time I address it, the fire gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. I'm just sick of it, Doc. I'm sick of it. Like,
That's why
I'm
you
tired.
stay out of it. That's good.
Yeah.
I'm trying to. I keep getting dragged back in by them. I'm like, they say, "Oh, Prince, you're being doxxed. Oh, Prince, he said this." I'm like, dude, I don't care. I don't care. Leave me alone. I don't want to be bothered with this shit anymore. The more I
Well,
address
hold
it,
on,
the more
Prince. You know, YR has been known to lure people into that drama pool a lot of times. You know.
don't get me wrong, Doc. I love YR. I love being in the YR program.
I know,
I just don't collide heads with Sean anymore, like wild bucks. I'm tired of clacking with him. I don't want to do it no more. I want to just have peace between me and Sean. Despite what I said about Sean, despite what he said about me, I just wanted to be water under the fucking bridge and move on with my fucking life and do the YR program and do the dancing I'm doing the funny comedy I'm doing. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to do comedy without bashing someone, without saying, I don't want to do that anymore. I'm trying to become I'm trying to become independent. I'm tired of doing it through hurting people and stepping on people. I don't need to use Sean's View as a fucking stepping stone to get where I'm going in life. I don't need to do that. That's all I'm saying. I don't need him to step on me. I need to step on him, you know? Because at the end of the day, he's going through some personal problems, and so am I. He's been there for me, and I've been there for him. You know what I'm saying? But I don't need to keep on going back and forth with him because it looks crazy. It doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense.
Now, I don't know what the fuck is up with that and bullshit there. Sorry that you're going through that, man, right now. Tell you what, you're gonna.
Well, I basically try to stay out of that completely.
This is a message, and I want the trolls to relate this message back to him. Prince has no beef with Sean's View Entertainment. I repeat, I have no beef with Sean's View Entertainment. I'm trying to do a music show with Dr. Earl Brown and Arknolia. That's what I was told we're going to do today, and I get boy guarded. I get dragged into something I don't even want to be in. Now, I apologize that Bullfrog was being doxxed in Sean's View. I apologize. I understand he was being doxxed. But I did tell Bullfrog, stay away from over there. Don't even go over there. Now, me, I was in the chat room just to say, hey, Sean, how's it going? I hope everything's well. Keep it moving. Simple. That's all Bullfrog had to do. Is say, hey, Sean, how's it going? I wish you luck. Keep it moving. And Sean's view did the same thing last night on YR program. He was like, hey, how's it going? But I guess he thought we were ignoring him. Those are rumors. You know, he thought that we were trying to bash him or whatever. He took it the wrong way. Sean, we were not bashing you. We were not hurting you. I'm here to, you know me, I'm going to fight for the fair justice, and I'm going to keep it real with you. I don't think we were trying to attack Sean. What happened last night is, Dr. Arknolia, not to boycott your show, I want to say this last thing, and then we can talk about music. Sean, we were inviting you. We were inviting you to come on to a call to talk whatever you want to talk about. There's open calls every night on the YR program. You're invited to come in and say whatever you want. But Sean, if you feel that we did something to you, I apologize on the behalf of my crew. I apologize for them, because if they're not going to apologize to you, I apologize. I will be the one. I will be the one in the group that apologizes to you, Sean. I'm tired of the back and forth bullshit. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it. I don't care what people say to you, Sean, about me. I don't care what people say about you to me. I don't care anymore. I don't care. I want Dr. Arknolia fans, whoever's listening to this, I want you to relate this message back to Sean's view and tell them Prince does not care anymore. Prince wants no more beef. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it. That's all I have to say.
I hear you, man.
Let's move on to the music.
All right.
Okay. Well, we'll start. Well, you joined just in time, and I was just telling the doctor that I'm glad you come to these shows, because you're obviously a student that wants to learn, and we're here to help you.
That's right, there, man.
Thank you.
All right, glad to help.
Dark purple, right?
Deep purple, yes.
Deep purple.
Yes, Deep Purple, correct.
Huge band.
Huge band, and they're still together today. And we're going to be discussing mostly the Mark I lineup. Way before Ian Gillan got in as a vocalist there. Way before Smoke on the Water, Speed King, Child in Time. Way before Highway Star, Burn. Way before David Coverdale got in there. Way before Strange Kind of Woman. All those songs. This was in the 60s, and we were talking about they released 3 records on the Bill Cosby record label there that he helped co-found. And before that, they would sign to Warner Brothers soon afterwards, get a couple of new bass player and singer, Roger Gulliver and Ian Gillan, and we would become megastars next to Black Sabbath.
Okay, now my first contact, if you will, with Deep Purple was in 1968. I heard the song Hush, which is a Joe South song.
Yes.
And I was like, whoa.
Wow.
This is good.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, definitely. Especially with the wolf howling at the beginning of the track there.
Yeah. Yeah. And they released the first album, Shades of Deep Purple, in 1968.
Which also featured a Beatles cover of the song Help.
Yeah, I actually had this album. First song on the album is something called And the Address, which is an instrumental, which gives you an inkling of where they're kind of trying to go.
Yep.
Because the first 3 albums generally are more prog, but there is hints of metal in it, and they get really metal after this. They followed that with the song Hush, which we just talked about.
Yep.
Another one called One More Rainy Night, which was another good one. And then here's where the prog steps in a little bit more. Prelude, Happiness, I'm So Glad, which is a cover of a Cream song, which Cream covered.
Yep.
Old blues number. Then they did Mandrake Root. And the song Help you just mentioned.
Yep.
And then another one called Love Help Me. And then their version of Hey Joe.
Yeah. Which was, by the way, we all know the Hendrix version, but it was covered years before that.
Yeah, and that's from an old tune. I'm not real sure who did it first.
Have to look it up.
I've never really researched it, but it's been done by tons of people.
Lots of people, including Ice-T's Body Count for a Hendrix tribute.
Yeah.
Let's see. And the second one was called the Book of Tasman. What's it called there?
Book of Taliesin,
Book of Taliesin. That was on the same
which was
labels.
also released in 1968.
Hmm.
And this one was definitely more proggy than metal.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, my computer's just incredibly slow
I know.
for no apparent reason. Okay, this
Yep.
one started with a song called "Listen, Learn, Read On."
Mm-hmm.
Then they followed that with "Ring That Neck," which is also titled "Hard Road," which is an instrumental that it's a versatile instrument for John Lord mainly, but Ritchie Blackmore does some good stuff with it.
Yep.
Then they did a cover of Neil Diamond's "Kentucky Woman."
Mm.
Followed that up with "Exposition," "We Can Work It Out," Beatles cover.
All right, there. Oh, it's one of those two tracks into one there.
Yeah. Then they followed up with well, actually, the second side is great.
Mm-hmm.
A song called "Shield," another one called "Anthem," and then the third one is a cover of an Ike and Tina Turner song, "River Deep, Mountain High."
Mm.
And this is an incredible version that runs about 10 minutes long.
Wow.
And it's definitely proggy big time.
All right.
Of those three albums, this is the best.
All right.
And definitely worth a listen. And the third album, I'm waiting for my slow computer.
All right. Was simply called Deep Purple.
Exactly.
Yep.
And this album used to be incredibly rare because it was released in Tetragrammaton, went out of business.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this album kind of went away.
Yeah, I know. Along with the other two albums there, I was able to manage.
Yeah, but the other two at least had a little time.
Yeah, it's true there.
This one had no time.
Yeah.
Took me a while to find it, and then now it gets released all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, but usually release it on these indie labels who pick it up and own the rights to it there.
But it's a good album in itself. Well, let's start out by saying there's not a bad Deep Purple album.
That's true.
But this is a good album too, and it's well worth looking for. This one has "Chasing Shadows," great song.
All right.
"Blind." Then they followed that with "Lelania," which is a Donovan cover.
Ah.
And then "Fault Line," which is an instrumental. "The Painter."
Ah.
Side 2 has "Why Didn't Rosemary?" Then "Bird Has Flown." And then another epic, "April," 12 minutes long.
Wow. Interesting.
And these three albums are highly underrated.
Underrated because there's very limited out there. Of course, the old Purple.
Yeah, but I mean, a lot of people haven't even heard them because it's like, oh, this is the classic lineup.
Yeah, but this would be like I said, this is before later on Rod Evans and Nick Simpler would be replaced by Roger Glover and Ian Gillan, who would remain with the band up until 1976 when those who departed and David Coverdale and Glenn Hughes would step in.
Right. But again, I can't emphasize enough that these three albums are worth listening to in their entirety. I mean, it's different.
Shades of Deep Purple, Shades of Deep Purple, by the way, that I had on cassette. I found it at a record store back then. I was like, let me check it out, and it's pretty damn good stuff there. Absolutely there. And the record,
and believe it or not, the next two records are better.
Yeah, Deep Purple and Rock.
Well, no, I'm talking about Book of Taliesin.
Oh, okay,
Deep
my
Purple.
bad. Oh yeah, Book of Taliesin.
Those two are better than Shades of Deep Purple, and Shades of Deep Purple was good.
I gotta listen to those two records there. Now that you mentioned that there, I'm also looking at the discography that Tetragrammaton had. They had a lot of this stuff under their catalog here. he had this record by Carol Burnett and Martha Raye called Together Again for the First Time. Both Sides Now by the Johnsons. Relight My Fire by Retta Hughes. Sweet Thursday by the band Sweet Thursday. Summerhill by Summerhill. Children of Light by an artist named Biff Rose. Pat Boone recorded an album there called Departure. A Blind Man's Movie from Murray Roman, the comedian. It also had Concerto for Group and Orchestra by Deep Purple. I wonder if that's that one that they did in the Royal Albert Hall with the Sympathy Orchestra. I remember
Yeah,
having that
it
album.
is.
Because I had that album when it was reissued on Warner Brothers, and I couldn't really make sense of it at that time because, it just
Well,
didn't.
I think that's basically the Mark II lineup too. I don't
It
think it's
was.
a Mark I lineup.
It was the Mark II lineup, yeah. It was.
And essentially, it's a four-part symphony, and the original record, that's all that was on it. So,
Absolutely there. And this was what later, I guess it would be probably one of the first performance. This would be one of the first concerts where a rock band would have an orchestra backing it up. In the past, Kiss did it for Live 4, and the Scorpions did it a couple times, I guess. I'm not too sure what
Moody
year it
Blues
was.
are famous for doing it.
Absolutely there. And of course, we cannot forget S&M 1 and 2 with the film, with the San Francisco, what is it, the San Francisco Orchestra, I believe it was. They did
Yeah, and
with
Metallica did
Metal,
something with.
yeah, not once but twice.
Yeah, I remember having that DVD, and I loved the opening because they played
The
one of
Ecstasy
the
of
tracks
Gold.
from The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
The Ecstasy of Gold. One of the
Yeah.
classic. And of course, so there was his tribute album to the composer Enrico Mamorte. Was that his last name pronounced?
Ennio Morricone.
Okay, there you go. There was a tribute to him, and of course, Metallica obviously did, of course, the Ecstasy of Gold in his honor.
Yeah.
Absolutely there. And of course, the label also had the Great White Hope original cast soundtrack on it, the Bill Cosby album that we mentioned, a Kingston Trio. They released it Once Upon a Time on that label. Shay S C C blah. It was a soundtrack.
Well, did they get
CHE.
into whatever source you're reading? Did they get into why the label went bankrupt?
I'm looking at it right now. See what it was. I guess a number of despite having have popular artists on its roster, the label ceased trading after declaring bankruptcy in 1970. In 1972, Warner Brothers Records, which was used to where Bill Cosby used to record for, signed it Deep Purple and reissued various tracks from the group's first three albums on the previous label on one compilation album entitled Purple Passages. In Canada, some of the releases were manufactured and distributed on the Canadian division of Polydor Records, which also issued several Canadian-only Deep Purple compilations after the demise of the label there. And its co-founder, Martin Dean, died of heart failure in August of 2010 in L.A.
Wow.
Wow.
But that's a label that had a lot of promise and not only went away, but it darn near took all its artists with them.
I know, yeah, exactly. I mean, it's kind of the same thing with Apple Records. I mean, we haven't heard Nicky Hopkins. There's no more Badfinger. It's Jolie Holland's Badfinger. He wasn't even an original member, by the way, there. I know they actually do shows there. I mean, there was this one record label called that Marilyn Manson put together, and one of the only bands that he had was this group called Godhead, which they had a couple good records on there. One of them called 2,000 Years, A Human Era, which I recommend. But Manson didn't hardly do anything for the band there, so that label folded. It's
Yeah.
running a record label is like the same thing as running a bar. It's a science. It is it's extremely crafted science that you got to work hard on. How to promote the artist, where to promote the artist, and which genre of music there, especially nowadays, today's circumstances.
Yeah, I guess Swan Song's still going.
No, the label folded in 1985.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and that had two good artists on it.
yeah, Bad
Well,
Company.
more than that,
Yeah,
but
exactly. They had other than Zeppelin and Bad Company, they had a group called Detective, which featured Michael DeBars. It also
yeah,
had for a while Dave Edmunds with his record "Repeat When Necessary." That had, the good song from that album was "Crawling from the Wreckage." That was I remember hearing that on the radio there. Jimmy Page had the Death Wish 2 soundtrack on there, as well as Robert Plant's first solo record, Pictures at 11. Great, both are great albums, by the way.
yeah.
Yeah. And
Okay, sorry to interrupt.
go
Sorry to
good.
interrupt. I just wanna punch the ad as a co-host. That's my job. I'm just gonna punch this ad. Ladies and gentlemen, next Monday we will be diving into a band that I requested to Dr. Earl Brown, and that is the punk rock group, Black American group, and that is their band. It's called Fishbone. I
Mm,
hope we get to talk about it next Monday if Doc is available. The following Monday,
available.
we will try to talk about the
Door.
classic legendary band, The Doors. And
Yes.
following the next Monday after that, we will try to talk about Hanoi Rocks.
Mm.
So that is the announcement I wanted to punch in.
Okay. We should probably definitely look at it, especially Hanoi Rocks. I've been wanting to dive
Yes.
into this group because
Oh my
this
God,
band
I've been dying to talk about it with you.
because
I've
this
been
group
dying.
because this group had had an influence for influenced Guns N' Roses, and you remember back in the
Yes,
early towards the end of the '80s there, the band's
yes.
record label. Hold up.
They're from Finland. They're from Finland, by the way.
Yes, remember, yes, and you
Oh,
remember,
really?
yes, there were,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, the really big group from Finland that I've grown really fond of is Nightwish.
yeah, pretty good band as well
The
there.
lead singer, not to interrupt you, Arknolia, the lead singer, Michael Monroe, is a guitar player, pianist, and saxophone player, and he has great vocals. And he has a little bit of punk
Hmm.
mixed in with glam rock. So he's like has the 80s punk, and like, he's like everything. He has a little bit of, what's his name? He has a little bit of Billy Idol. He has a
Yep.
little bit of Brad Michaels. He has a little bit of Axl Rose in him. So he's like everything combined into one. And he's one of the, you know how they say Little Richard is the architect of all music. He's the originator. Well, Michael Monroe, they've been calling him the originator of rock and roll as well. They call him originator of rock and roll, of heavy metal, glam rock. The same as they say, well, Little Richard was the originator of soul, rock and roll.
Yep,
So he has
absolutely.
that same title. He has
Mhm.
the same title.
And we also
So
mentioned you wanted to do the Doors as well. There, we talked about
Well,
that.
yeah, he's talking about the second Monday.
Yep, the second
now
Monday.
that
Okay.
band, I think that band was like a competition. Correct me if I'm wrong, Doc. They were like competition to the Beatles.
The
You had the
Doors.
Beatles and you had the Doors. Wasn't there like a rivalry between the Beatles and the Doors at
Not
a
that
No,
I,
time?
not that we know of, really.
not a lot because the Doors did come around to about 1968,
7,
7, 8,
67.
somewhere
Yeah.
in there, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And
And
the Beatles were breaking up at that time.
we're not really well starting. Well, the
Well, they
Beatles
were
has,
getting close.
yeah, a couple years later they would
And,
decide to
oh,
disband.
another person that was around, I think either before, she was out there before. Janis Joplin. I want to talk about Janis Joplin on the
Yeah,
show.
you know what we got?
Oh,
You
yeah.
know what, now that you think about it, we should spotlight on her because she's from Austin, Texas, if I remember there. So,
Right.
Mhm.
and we got to definitely talk about her lifestyle and everything else. And we also need to discuss of her possibly being bisexual, from what I remember hearing. And of course, the
Yeah.
movie The Rose, which came out in '79, with Bette Midler, basically that movie was basically, from what I understand, based on Joplin's life. But a
Yeah,
little
and
bit,
then
little things.
obviously we'll cover Big Brother and the holding company.
Absolutely, and also we got to definitely we got a lot to talk about, folks. Here, definitely we got to bring
You
it up
better
there.
write some of this down.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely, huh? But going back to Deep Purple, when he got to, of course, they got Ian Gillan and Roger Glover into the group. That's when things
Yeah, they
started.
went like over a year before they released In Rock.
Yeah, which I had
Warner
on vinyl,
Brothers.
when I got from the which I got from a garage sale back then. I was like amazed by the power of this record here.
Yeah,
Flight of
because
the
this is
Rat.
where they really went to metal.
Absolutely. That's when they really went heavy. That's when John Lord really decided to, really crank up the organ there. And Tony from Revere, keep note of this guy there. Him and Keith Emerson. And Rick Wakeman to boot as well there.
Yeah, yeah. We'll eventually do a whole show on individual, like keyboardists, drummers, bassists, guitar
And then
players,
when we do
vocalists.
and by the way, when we do the keyboard artists out there, we got to include this cat from Germany, Klaus Schultz.
Yeah,
I had a lot of his stuff downloaded on my MP3s. Earlicht, Cyborg, Black Dance. I've listened to a couple of his stuff there on YouTube here. He also did a project with Lisa Gerard from the group Dead Can Dance at one point, which is pretty good to listen to there.
okay, in rock.
Mm-hmm.
Starts out with Speed King, which kind of gives you an inkling of where they're going.
Yep. Kick-ass
Uh,
sound.
Bloodsucker,
Yep.
and the amazing Child in Time.
Which is a war about a soldier.
Right, it's an anti-war song,
Absolutely there.
and it's well disguised because you wouldn't get that right
Yeah.
away.
Yeah, because on the liner notes of the album, the gatefold, the band kind of like gave a description, somewhat of a description of the songs here, what they're about. And for instance, the first track, Speed King, was like just a few roots replanted. Mean the roots of rock and roll. And then in the Child of Time, they describe that as the story about a loser. It could be you.
Yeah, and then side two starts with Flight of the Rat,
Kick-ass song as well there.
Into the Fire,
Mm-hmm.
Living Wreck, which
Oh.
I guess describes a woman that's kind of like in pieces or whatever.
Oh, man.
And then Hard Loving Man.
Which is a very heavy tune there. Very heavy tune. The ending of that track features Blackmore doing something with his guitar. I'm not too sure whether it's running a slide, a bar through the strings there or whichever. But when it closes out, you hear the echo out of this. Feels like something, sounds like a freight train or something like there with the squealing wheels there. And it's just like, holy cow. This is a
Now, in the
badass.
reissue, they included Black Knight, which was a single at the time, but wasn't on any albums,
Yep.
and it shows up on this album.
Ah.
And Black Knight was a big song and a good one.
Mm-hmm. It was, definitely.
And again, this had the new lineup, the Mark II lineup.
Yep, then we know and love it very well.
Yeah, this is probably their most famous lineup. Mark III was a close second, though.
Absolutely. Mark III was Coverdale and Glenn Hughes filling in the vocals and bass chores there.
Yeah. They followed in rock with Fireball,
Mm-hmm.
which was another album that displayed their metal.
Uh-huh.
First song is Fireball.
Mm-hmm.
Next one, No, No, No.
Mm-hmm. Which I remember hearing the clip of them performing there.
Demon's Eye. Wait a minute, that's the European release. No wonder I was sitting there going, what the heck?
Okay, there.
Strange Kind of Woman was the third song.
All right.
Yeah, I was seeing Demon's Eye, like, no, that was on the re-release. And Anyone's Daughter.
Mm-hmm.
Then they followed the second side with The Mule, which is a really good instrumental mostly. Then Fools, and No One Came.
Here's something here.
Which,
I was looking on the information on the In Rock album. It seems that Into the Fire was written by Roger Glover as a warning against drug use.
Yeah.
And the Hard Loving Man was the word from a bracelet that Glover had developed as a jam session by the rest of the band. It was the first track recorded at the D. Lane Lee in studios in January 1970 with engineer Martin Birch, rest in peace. He was impressed with Birch's skills. He was also retained as engineer for the group's albums up to 1976. He was credited as catalyst on the original album.
Wow.
Mm.
Okay, the next album is the big one.
Machine Head. This was the album that the group was supposed to originally record in that hotel if it not had been burned down back in
Yeah,
Montreux, Switzerland. And what it was is that they wrote that song as it was about what happened there, and that would become one of their biggest songs there.
yeah, this album starts with Highway Star, which is a really good song.
Yep. A song for the speed freak who like to put the pedal to the metal when they're on the freeway there.
Yeah, then Maybe I'm a Leo,
Hmm.
Pictures of Home,
Yeah, another good one there.
Never Before.
Yeah. Song
Side
about
2, go ahead.
side two is Smoke on the Water there.
Starts with Smoke on the Water.
Yep.
Then Lazy, which is a real good John Lord thing.
Yeah, especially in the beginning, you can see how
Oh, yeah.
has a distortion pedal and a flanger on it as on his organ there.
Yeah, it goes in some interesting sounds that he's getting out of his organ.
Absolutely there. Tony, once
Which,
again,
that
take
sounded
note.
weird, but that's not what I meant.
Absolutely. But it sounded good either way. Once again, Tony, take note of this. And of course, the little closing track, Space Truckin'.
Which is a biggie, which is a great little number.
Absolutely there.
And Mr. Slowe's Computer, the next album is Who Do We Think We Are? And I'm getting there eventually. Which
I know,
had-
my computer's going through the same crap right now as well now.
and I don't know why it shouldn't be. And I generally don't buy the new Windows until they've been out a while and all the bugs have been taken out. So I'm going to wait a while on Windows 11.
Yep.
That's a side note.
All right.
Okay, Who Do We Think We Are? Start out with Woman from Tokyo, which was another one of their hits.
Yep, another radio hit classic.
And then to follow that with Mary Long. Then Super Trooper, which is a great little song. Had I don't know what they call it, but it's the thing where they hit a drum and it sounds like it goes through a wind tunnel.
Bam. Interesting.
But that's a great song.
All right there.
Smooth Dancer.
Yep.
And Inside 2 has Rat Bat Blue, Place in Line, and a song called Our Lady, which is really a good listen.
All right. And then, of course, afterwards, Ian Gill conflicts between a couple of the band would cause Roger Glover to leave, and then Ian Gillan just as well. They were replaced by a singer named David Coverdale and a bass player named Glenn Hughes, who previously was in this group called Trapeze, who recorded for Threshold Records, the Moody Blues' label, and that group, by the way, would also feature David Holland, who would later join Judas Priest in 1980. And that album, this lineup would release was Burn.
Which that's a really good listen too. Starts with the song Burn, which was a pretty big hit.
Absolutely. And this was also the foundation start of their record label titled Purple Records.
Yeah. Then they followed that with Mine Just Take Your Life, Lay Down, Stay Down, and then another great song, Sail Away.
Yeah.
You Fool No One, What's Going On Here, Mistreated, which is a really good song.
All right.
And then something called A200, which is pretty much a John Lord piece, but Blackmore's involved.
Yeah. I think I remember.
But it's an instrumental.
I think I remember hearing Mistreated done by Rainbow on the MTV concert back in '82. There, I'm thinking that's the one. I think that's what I'm thinking of there, if I'm correct. Mistreated. If
Well,
I'm,
yeah, mistreated, but
yep.
A200 is an instrumental that's really trippy, actually.
All right, there. Got to check that out. Most likely there.
Yeah, it's too bad we can't play songs, or I'd play it
I
for you.
know because last time I don't know if Prince you were aware of this. Ark had these tracks. He was given. He was had it at the low volume, but we are able to hear it well. And we got a notification in both our Gmails stating that a couple of the shows that
I'm still here.
we had a
I'm still
couple.
here. I'm listening.
Good, yes. And we did a couple shows, as I mentioned, where Ark would play snippets of the songs he was talking about.
No more than 20 seconds.
Yep, absolutely. And yet, despite that, we both got Gmail notices that the shows that we did would not be shown in this country, that country in Europe, Germany, Italy, or Saudi Arabia, India, whichever there, because of the copyright issues. Because most of the copyrights of some of those earlier songs are owned by German-based companies and overseas there. For instance, BMG, if you remember, we talked about, now has
Yeah.
bought the entire Fleetwood Mac catalog thanks to this thing on TikTok.
Yeah, it's funny because the U.S. didn't hit us.
I know.
And I guess it's not that we are over there,
yeah,
but they blocked us anyway on those two or three shows that we did that with.
yeah, exactly there. So we were, but as long as we still have the shows here in the States, that's my thing. If it was taken off in general, that'd be like, motherfucker. But, I'm not really not going to scream about it there, like I said,
Yeah. I'm not real worried that people in Saudi Arabia can't pick those two shows up. I'm not going to lose any sleep over that.
Nope, am I.
Okay, the next album they did was Stormbringer, which that's a good album too, but their ratings are starting to go. People aren't getting into them as much.
Yeah,
This is a good album though.
And this would be the last record, I understand, where Ritchie Blackmore would be involved with the group. He would decide to leave, but put together his group called Rainbow. He wanted to start over because he felt the egos, the conflicts were overshadowing the music, which was supposed to have been the main goal there. And the following year, they would replace him with a dude named Tommy Bolin.
Yeah, I'm trying to say if there's anything on here. Well, there's good songs on here, but probably the biggest one is Stormbringer itself. And Hold On is good. Love Don't Mean a Thing. Lady Double Dealer. Highball Shooter. The Gypsy Sold Your Fortune. They're starting to, well, I don't know what word I want to use there because I don't want to give the impression they're starting to go bad because they weren't.
Mm-hmm.
But essentially they weren't as big.
They were their popularity started drifting down, needless to say there.
Yeah, although the hardcore fans were still there.
Absolutely there. You got to remember. Well, let me state this, and I stated this before when it comes to certain bands out there. The diehards are the ones who stay. The ones who only like you for this certain time to then move on to other things, those are not the real true fans up there. They're only fans because you were the thing at that moment. And those kind of fans piss me off.
Yeah, it's kind of like there's a word for that.
Yeah. Hangers on.
Well, no, didn't they stay with you when you're big and they leave you when you're bald.
Trendies. That's what I call them,
Yeah.
Because at that moment you were trending, and when you're not so trendy, like bye, got to go to the next thing. Those people. Those are the kind of people I despise.
Yeah. Well, like you said, the next album was Come Taste the Band.
Sheep. That's what we call them. Sheep.
Yeah. And Come Taste the Band, well, I think the reason for the title of the album was because Blackmore was gone and Bolin was in.
Yep.
And they wanted people to, hey, Dad, listen to this one. it's a good album,
Yeah,
and Bolan is a good guitarist.
yeah, true
He
there.
was T-Rex.
Pretty much related to T Rex, I think.
Yeah, I think he was a guitarist with
I
T-Rex.
believe so. Yeah, I think he also released a couple of solo records of his own there.
Yeah,
In the meantime, there as well. There, I guess after Deep Purple would fold, and soon after this album came out.
yeah, because I think there's a pretty long time between this one and the next one.
Yeah,
Let me see.
yeah,
1975, 19. Yeah, I'd say it's a pretty long time.
yep.
1975 to 1984.
Yep, Perfect Strangers would be the comeback album. It was announced that they would reunite for a tour and an album there, and they decided to keep the reunion permitted as well. Uh, Perfect Strangers came out in the summer of that year, '84. Massive hit on the radio, massive tour that they did there.
Yeah,
Knocking at Your Back Door, Gypsy's Kiss, the title cut there. I remember seeing the video for, and interesting enough because at that time Blackmore this and the boys there I guess Ian Gillan had to get some training to do some working out there because apparently he had gained a weight and he needed to get himself back into shape to do this tour there. And I guess you could probably say Deep Purple Mark II was back and everything was all fine and dandy. They would also release the second record with this new reformed lineup, The House of
House of
Blue
Blue
Light.
Light.
Yep, in
Yeah,
'86 here. I remember with the video for that track, called The Wild was a good video and song as well there.
yeah. There's good material, but the songs aren't as
Solid.
from here on
Yeah.
aren't as memorable. I guess is the word I'm looking
I
for.
guess you could say yes. There's hardly any records.
They're good songs though.
They are, yes. Yeah. And The House of Blue Light was taken from one of the lyrics from the track Speed King, by the way, folks.
Right.
Now, in 1990, Ian Gillan would depart, and he was replaced by Joe Lynn Turner from Rainbow,
Hmm.
Ritchie Blackmore's band. He was the last frontman to sing with that group there. And then they released this album, Slaves and Masters, like Fire in the Basement, Dreamers, something about Dreamers, I guess.
Right.
Yeah, I forgot got to look it up there. And of course, 1993, the Mark II lineup returns once again. They were signed with a label called Giant Records, distributed by Warner Brothers. The battle rages on, you know. And around this time, Ritchie Blackmore and Ian Gillan were just really constantly at each other's throats. And finally, he just said, Ritchie does, he wrote a letter to the management, said, I am quitting the group for good. So he would be replaced by Steve Morse from Kansas and the Dixie Dregs bands there.
Right.
And in '96,
Perpendicular.
Perpendicular would be released, and this would be released on an indie label called CMC International. And this was often christened as the label that old metal bands come to die, because bands like Warrant, Dokken, and a couple others out there, LA Guns, for instance, after being let go by their major labels, they would sign on with this group, and that's where the slogan would come from there.
Right.
Abandon would follow in 1998. Baham Bananas in the
Not to
2000.
interrupt you, Doc.
Yeah.
Not to interrupt you. Not to
Mhm.
interrupt you, but that band was. I think I was listening to that band back when I was in my freshman year or my sophomore year.
Deep Purple?
Warrant was what? No,
Oh, Warrant.
Deep Purple as well.
Oh,
Deep Purple as
Warrant.
well.
Yes, Warrant.
I was probably middle school. Deep Purple. I heard about Deep Purple in middle school, and around the same time I heard about Guns N' Roses and so many other bands. But Warrant, I got into Warrant real late, and I think think he died in what, 27? I think he died like 27,
No, you
2018. He
mean
died.
Janie
Yeah,
Lane?
Jane Lee.
Yeah, he died in
Yeah, the
20.
lead singer.
He died in 2011 from, I guess,
Yeah,
drugs.
yeah, yeah,
He had a
yeah.
hard
Because
time getting off all that
yeah,
stuff there.
because I went to prom and I won prom king in 2012. So that's how I knew who Warren was, because that was a big thing on the news, a big thing.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I
And I
remember.
remember listening to the song Cherry Pie
Yep.
all week long. She's my cherry pie. That song was playing like nonstop to where
Oh
I was like,
yeah,
dude,
it
can you
was
take it
all
off
over
the
the
radio?
radio back in 1990. That's for sure. There.
But when
Yeah.
Janie Lee, when he died, they would nonstop play that song. I was like, my goodness.
Yeah. I'm surprised you would play that and either I Saw Red or this song Heaven,
Yeah.
which is which was a metal ballad at that time. There. I mean, songs like Down Boys, Uncle Tom's Cabin. There. It's. I remember seeing them play 3 times. Twice when they opened for Paul Stanley when he played the Ritz in Roseville in
And
'88.
he had a beautiful blonde wife, which is Bobby. Her name
Bobby
is Bobby
Brown,
Brown.
yes, Bobby
Oh my
Brown.
God, dude. Oh my God.
And I don't know what
I
the.
mean, like, woohoo, that girl. Oh my God.
Oh, she was hot, no doubt about that.
Yes. Yes.
No surprise that he would hook up with her after filming that Cherry Pie video there.
I got lucky to be around a woman like Bobby Brown. I had a teacher named Mrs. Garrett. She had the blonde hair, looked just like Bobby Brown. I was like, oh my
wow,
God.
nice.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh.
When I was in the 4th grade, oh my God, Miss Garrett. Actually Miss Garrett and Miss Jenkins. Oh my God. Woo!
Wow,
Yeah.
interesting there. All right.
Bruce Van Halen, hot for teacher.
Oh yeah. Oh man, every time I think of that song, I think about that Mary Kay Latoro. What's her face? That's her name there, and what she did with that Villa kid.
Yeah.
Oh man. And we see, I don't know what is up with these female teachers trying to hook up with their students. Are they that
Have you seen-
satisfied with their men or what?
Have you seen the movie That's My Boy with Adam Sandler? Where the story is he's like the little kid who messes with his teacher.
Yep.
There's a movie with Adam Sandler called That's My Boy, I think it was called.
All right.
Mm.
Okay.
Finishing up the Deep Purple studio.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, yeah, we had we discussed it, Bananas. We had Rapture in the Deep in 2005. It came out on a label called Edel Records there, and Now What came out in 2013, and the
That's
label
an
is called
interesting title.
Ear Music. Was the label of that there? Remember, they decided to go with independent labels at that time, various there. And Now What, by the way, was their first album to go gold in the sense, actually since Slaves and Masters from 1990. And that album charted, Now What did, by the way, it charted at number, I guess was, what time? U.S. it charted at,
Number 2?
no, not number 2.
No, that's not.
No, that charted,
That's not right.
yeah, exactly.
110.
110, exactly. I got it up right here. Whereas the last albums that they released, like Bananas, Rapture of the Deep, didn't even chart at all.
No.
Wow.
Die Hard's got them, but
Yeah. And now,
yeah, I have them too.
and of course, Infinite came out in 2017 on the Adele record label as well there. And that charted at 105. Whoosh came out in 2020. I remember seeing a promo video for that song there. And also the new one they have entitled Turning to Crime. This came out, supposed to be coming out next month.
Right.
On the Ear Music label there. And of course, we got to acknowledge John Lord, who passed away in 2010. I guess it was cancer, I guess it was.
I don't know.
I know, I got to look him up there, yeah. But he was, he was acknowledged by his old bandmate, Ritchie Blackmore. He did a song for him. I guess it was an instrumental. And when I didn't find out about it until I moved back to Detroit with my girlfriend at that time there.
Yeah, for some reason, unless they're really big icon, you don't really see much in the news unless you're looking for it.
Absolutely there, sadly.
Because they never say nothing. It's like, oh, so and so from this group died, but we
Hmm.
don't care.
Yep, that's true there. I
I
do.
mean, it was like when Tom Fogerty died, I didn't find out about it till they said something about John Fogerty and his funeral.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah. In the July of 2011, Lord was found to be suffering from pancreatic cancer. After treatment in both England and Israel, he died on July 16th of the following year at the London clinic after suffering a pulmonary embolism. His
Right. Heart,
his
not a heart, a lung thing.
yeah, his interment was at the new churchyard of St. Mary, the Virgin Church in Hambledon.
Okay, I want to move on to at least one of the live albums,
Hmm. And we
Made in
know,
Japan.
oh yeah, that was one of the big live records there. Definitely, well, that's the big one.
Huge live album.
That's absolutely there. That's in fact, smoke. The version of "Smoke on the Water" on that album and "Highway Star" massively kick ass.
Oh, yeah. And you want to talk about an epic long song?
Hmm.
Space Trucking.
Oh man, that's badass. Alone,
Well
I can
over 20
imagine.
minutes long.
Wow.
And it's a good listen if you really like, if you got a lot of time and you really like to hear it.
Absolutely
It's
there.
a good listen.
Who's
What are we hearing?
I don't know. I hear someone in the background there. Is that probably Prince Idol? I think it is Prince Donatello.
My
There you
bad.
are, dude.
I'm
It's
yeah,
okay.
I'm
There you are, dude.
still here.
All right. So I hear.
Okay.
Okay.
Also on this album was Child in Time, a live version of that,
Mm-hmm.
and then a live version of The Mule,
Uh-huh.
Strange Kind of Woman, Lazy,
Mm-hmm.
which Lazy really gets epic.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely there.
And of course, like I said, side 4, because this was a 2-record set,
Mm-hmm.
was Space Trucking.
Oh yeah.
And boy, do they improvise in this song. Have you ever listened to the whole thing, Doctor?
No, I haven't. I just only heard Highway Star and Smoke on the Water. I definitely those were the two main ones.
Well, yeah, but you need to listen to the whole album, but you
I will.
definitely have to listen to Space Trucking. The
Okay
live
there.
version of that song is incredible.
All right there. Okay. Strange kind of woman. All right. Let me look it up on the. Okay. Let
No,
me go.
Space Trucking.
Oh, space trucking. Okay, I'm looking at Space Strange Out of the Wood because if I'm correct, I heard a story about this album there. Now, it was originally released as the follow-up single to Black Knight in '71. It also became a big hit, peaking at number 8 in the UK charts and in Germany, and number 1 in Denmark. The 1996 remix by Roger Glover appeared on the reissue of the release of Fireball, while the original version can be found on various Deep Purple compilations. Now, it was not part of the Fireball sessions. It was included on the U.S. and Canadian editions of the album.
Right.
Laura with the track Demon's Eye in the UK edition there. Now, the song was originally titled Prostitute. Vocalist Ian Gillan introduced the song in Deep Purple in concert. It was about, here's a quote, a friend of ours who got mixed up with a very evil woman. It's a very sad story. They got married in the end, and a few days after they got married, the lady died.
Oh, wow.
In the wordographies section, Gillan describes a slightly different version of the song's history. Quote unquote, I loved her in a strange post adolescence pre adult way, but then so did quite a lot of other people. She loved him too and gave him good return for their money. I failed miserably when I tried to break her from the habit. She said it wasn't a habit. It was her life, and what did I know anyways? I did get promoted from Wednesday morning trusts to Saturday evening dates. Sort of. The fact is, the song is not about one woman, but a compilation of thrills and disappointments, and such a package that can only be called Nancy. I grew up fast, the innocence died, and in the category, my woman, all claims were relinquished. Now, when
Huh.
he, wow, and when he performed the song live, Blackmore and Gillan would do a guitar vocal duel in the middle. This would always end up with an extremely long, high pitched scream from Gillan before the band returned to play the original song. An
Yeah,
example
they'd
can
sit
be.
there and he'd do doodly doot on the guitar, and then the
It can,
vocal would go doodly doot.
yep, we've seen that many times before. And that's, of course, that version that we mentioned is, of course, on Made in Japan.
Right.
Yes. Now, the other live album I remember was Nobody's Perfect from 1987. And this
Yeah.
would include a new re recorded version of Hush because in the past they never did that song live.
Right. Because that was Mark One, and they didn't do any Mark One songs.
Yeah. But I guess so many people were, were requested that they do Hush. I guess they decided, let's re record it. Fuck it.
Yeah.
You know. And I don't
And
know if I don't know if they released any other live records after that. If I'm correct, I think.
I'm looking at the live recordings now,
hmm
and basically they had Made in Japan, Made in Europe, which was Mark Three.
Made in Europe. Oh, I never forgot about that album, and that was about it. Those three there.
Last concert in Japan,
Ah.
Deep Purple in concert,
hmm
which, if I'm not mistaken, because there was one, I don't know whether it was a bootleg or what it was,
hmm
that had a lot of the old material.
Ah.
And I think it was a bootleg. Yeah, because this definitely isn't it.
All right, there. I'm thinking
'Cause that
so as
looks like
well.
it's similar. But it had a lot of it had a really long version of Hard Road, Bring That Neck, whatever.
hmm
Uh, let's see, Live in London.
All right.
Yeah, Nobody's Perfect, you
hmm
mentioned.
Yep. Hmm.
Scandinavian Nights.
Ah. Well, I see that. And mostly these are on indie labels, I can imagine, right?
Yeah, In
Yeah.
the Absence of Pink. Okay. Um,
All right.
I'm still looking.
Okay.
Gemini Sweet Live.
Wow.
King Biscuit Flower Hour.
King Biscuit. I remember. Does anybody remember listening to that show back in the '80s there, like I did?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean that they had a lot of good stuff
a
on there.
lot of good stuff there. And by the way, for the people who would question the sound quality of that and the official live records, most of the stuff on the King Biscuit Flower Hour recorded from the soundboard.
Yeah,
So kind of explains how it sounds so different than it did on the official recordings there. Yeah.
now there is one here called the
The
bootleg series.
the bootleg
Yeah,
I see there.
I wonder if that one has what I think it has.
Um, yeah, go ahead to check it out there, man.
Yeah, let me see if that's the. Well, they don't have the tracks listed.
hmm Okay. So it's just
Live
I guess you gotta buy the
occurs.
record to find that.
Yeah, and like I said, I don't remember what's on it, but I remember the one that I heard or had a lot of their first three album stuff live.
hmm
And the one, like I said, I remembered was like a 25-minute version of Hard Road,
All right.
which is an instrumental. So that
All right.
is fun. And it really is.
All right.
That wasn't sarcasm.
All right. Cool. All right. So I guess that's all we can cover on Deep Purple, I guess.
Yeah, and more.
All right. Yeah. So this coming Thursday, we'll take a look at, was it Fishbone, Prince? You wanted to do?
No, I think you want to do that on Monday.
Okay, next Monday we'll take a look at Fishbone. This
Is
coming,
that correct?
I'm
Is he
thinking so.
still there?
Prince, you still there, dude? I think he.
I'm
There he is.
There you are, dude.
Next Monday, actually do Hanoi Rocks.
Okay, next Monday, Hanoi Rocks. And
Well,
what
then
we...
Thursday we'll do Black Sabbath, I guess.
Yeah, baby.
Yes, yes, yes.
Because a lot of
Uh,
their earlier album had a lot of prog moments in it there. I would definitely on the earlier material there.
Especially the first album.
Oh, yeah.
Those,
Absolutely.
like Behind the Wall of Sleep, NIB.
Wasp,
I mean,
the wa- the bass guitar, basically a solo, which started off before NIB starts, and
yeah.
plus the stuff on
now
side two.
they talked about in the movie The Dirt, which is
The Motley Crue movie,
Motley Crue. Yeah, Motley Crue. They talked about Razzle, the drummer for
Hanoi Rocks.
Hanoi Rocks. Yeah, dying. Razzle died due to Vince Neil's wild. I wouldn't even say wild driving. But, well,
He was
drunk.
drunk.
They both were drunk.
He was high. They both were high. They were doing a lot of drugs, a lot of drinking. It was New Year's Eve. Him and Razzle decided to go out to get more drugs, and all of a sudden they ran into this other car, injuring the two women in that car. There, Vince Neil was unharmed, but Razzle was dead. You know,
And
and
he only went to jail for a small amount of time.
yeah, he did. Yeah. Well, that's how most of the laws in California are when it comes to celebrities. When you think about it, mostly the celebrities do a lot less time than the common person does.
Yeah, it's just
I
the
don't
way they
think
do
Michael
things.
Monroe recovered from the loss because his band was red hot until Motley Crue came up as a new I think Motley Crue eclipsed Headline Rocks because Headline Rocks was the thing going before Motley Crue. They were like the best glam band going, and I
Yeah.
think when Nikki Sixx put together Motley
Motley
Crue,
Crue.
it eclipsed. Yeah, it eclipsed everything that Hanoi Rocks were doing.
Well,
Because you think
the
about
first
Michael
time,
Monroe, he was the cute blonde guy, doing everything. Then here comes Vince Neil and Motley
yeah,
Crue just exploded everywhere.
yeah, I said, and it's fits to say that Michael Monroe. I remember, I'm not too sure, but I heard that Michael Monroe went off on Vince Neil when the subject came about that car wreck there, and I guess you can't really blame him. I mean, come on, Vince Neil doing that kind of like killed Hanoi Rocks because they were able to get a new drummer and they also got a new bass player, but the chemistry wasn't the same. When that chemistry is broken, it's hard to repair it there. And you can't bring
Yeah.
Razzle back from the grave, that's for dang sure. So they decided to call it quits. And
But they were red hot. I mean, they were like these guys were like on their way until boom, that accident happened.
yeah, but well, the only first time I heard of them was back in I guess 1983. They signed to Epic Records, CBS at that time, and their cover version of "Up Around the Bed," the CCR tune, there was on the MTV a couple of times in the past. The rest of the records, like they come out, which were reissued on the Guns N' Roses label, Uzi Suicide, they were mostly European releases. So
Yeah.
we finally got to.
Not to interrupt you.
Mhm.
Other bands that were influenced by Hanoi Rocks were Skid Row with Sebastian Bach,
Yep,
Guns N' Roses, Axl Rose. Izzy, the rhythm guitar player,
from
used to dress
GNR.
like from GNR. Used to dress like he can be a member of Hanoi Rocks. That's how much Hanoi Rocks meant to him.
Absolutely. Even Axl Rose. Remember he had that puffed out hair in the Welcome to the Jungle video?
He just looked just like Michael Monroe.
Exactly
Then he
there.
started a video called Jail, Rock and
I
Roll.
saw that there. I remember seeing that and hearing that track as well, man. And of course, Axl makes an appearance on it, as always.
Yeah,
Obviously.
yeah.
So it's good to know that an indie band that you were involved in had a major influence on a major band. That always makes you feel good, but it makes you sad because you're unable, because you're still touring and you're still drawing small audiences, while the
Mm-hmm.
bands that you influence draw more than you.
Hmm.
That's not, at least, well, it's not uncommon. It happens a lot.
That's true. It is true there. I remember one of the guys from Godflesh, was he had sent the band industrial guitar band Godflesh. Justin Broadwick, he said that he found out that his band sells more than this other group called the Swans, which was a pretty avant-garde based band there. And apparently he considers Swans a massive influence on Godflesh's music.
Yes.
Godflesh,
Yeah.
I think Godflesh is still together. They got back together, the original lineup. And Swans, I don't know if they're still together or not.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then Thursday we're going to do Black Sabbath
Yeah,
and Hanoi Rocks on Monday.
absolutely. I'm looking forward to this, that's for sure, man. Huge Sabbath freak that I was in my teen years, and still am, by the way.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to doing Hanoi Rocks Monday because I really want to dive in deep
I
on
know,
that.
but definitely, and the Prince would definitely
Love
do that. That's for sure. There, and of course, Prince, you got to come out to learn from Black, and of course, we got to get YR onto it. Tell him to free up, make some
Yeah.
free time this coming Thursday. So, and this will make up for the Metal Maniacs special we did on Black Sabbath last year, which didn't really sit too well because YR was mostly concentrating on talking to this person, talking to that person, instead of getting to the main subject. And I did brought that up to YR soon afterwards because we had about 14 dislikes other than 3 likes on that clip there.
I'll even for next Monday. I'll even send you a cool thumbnail picture for Hanoi Rocks. I'll send you a thumbnail that you can use for
All
your
right,
channel.
okay, I will definitely. So this coming Thursday will be Black Sabbath and Monday Hanoi Rocks.
Yep.
Yes,
Absolutely. Let's do this.
because I'm a huge punk fan. I love punk rock, and Michael Moreau, he delivered when he did his punk music. This dude can scream, he can jump. This guy was wild.
Hmm.
I see why Axl Rose loved him because this dude was wild.
Yeah.
He was so wild. In his younger days, this
Yeah.
dude would jump up and splits like David Lee Roth.
I know, yeah. Yeah, it was
I think
glam. It was
Roth.
glam
Everyone-
punk at its best there. And one thing what I guess the members of Hanoi's wanted to tell you that they were not heavy metal to begin with. They were just a punk group, but it was glam punk, like the New York Dolls used to be.
Yeah, yeah. And I think Prince, the late Prince, got some influence by Michael Monroe with his Dirty Mind album, where he was pretending to be a
Punk
he
rocker, glam punk.
he didn't call himself a rebel, but he did call himself Rude, the Rude Boy. And I think
yes.
saying Rude and Rebel all mean the same thing.
Well, Prince
All
took
mean
it to a new level when he started wearing those bikini briefs and those thigh-high boots on stage like he did.
took his punk rock way to a whole different level.
It was,
Very
yeah, it was definitely Dirty Mind by from Prince, punk rock record for the R&B crowd. Definitely took it up there. A lot of interesting topics on that album, including Sister.
Yes.
Hmm.
Yes.
We'll just let it go at that. We'll leave the audience figure that out for themselves there.
They'll find out Monday.
Absolutely. All right, so this Thursday, Black Sabbath, one of my all-time favorites.
Yes.
And definitely, Prince, you got to get YR. I'm sad that YR wasn't on the show, but he's doing his show on his channel currently.
He had to do a review
All right.
over what Sean's view was bashing him.
Wow.
So
What the
he had
fuck?
to react.
I gotta
Yeah,
go to
Sean's
I gotta go to Sean's channel there and find this out for myself there because this kind of surprised me.
Yeah. Sean's view was bashing Tony, and then he bashed YR, and then he bashed me. But like I told you when I came on here, I don't care. I have no beef with Sean. Like I'm just tired of the back and forth stuff.
Wow.
So people can talk and tell him I said this and I said that, but he knows I didn't say it. I didn't say anything bad about you, Sean. If word gets out, I want you to know this. I have not said anything bad about you
Right.
in weeks.
All right there.
And weeks.
All right. I've been saying anything about Sean myself, but then again, we only had that one conversation. That was about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of people think, oh, you're defending Sean's view. I'm not defending him. I'm just saying I haven't said anything bad about the dude. I don't have
Exactly.
no beef.
Same thing. I'm not
Right.
saying anything bad about Minnesota Vikings fan, even though I'm kind of upset. I'm not saying a damn thing about the dude. You know.
That's what I'm doing. I'm not saying anything about
So
him.
am
I
I.
mean, leave
And by the
him
way, I
alone.
need to make this clear about Minnesota Vikings. And we had a lot of talk about him off air when we had done one of our shows. I don't hate the guy. I don't despise him, but we did not appreciate him doing the same what he said to you, man. I mean, come on. He could have been a lot more casual. He could have been a lot more cooler. And I'm sorry. I'm not insulting him, but I've just got to lay down the facts. And here's something else. He must when we went live at 6 Central like we did, I guess he
Yeah.
planned on doing his show at the same time like he usually does. And I guess he kind of like decided to stop that because, he heard that we were going to go live at the same time. Nobody prevented him from going live at the same time.
No, it's not like there's 80 people in the world that listen to both of us, and they're
Exactly.
not going to listen anymore. I mean, heck, there's billions of people out there. Come on.
Exactly. I mean, I was able to do a live techno stream during one Saturday when Monetize This was airing on that night there for a while. And and I shout out to Dave Rose. He was listening to that. He said this is better than Monetize This. I really appreciate that stream. We got to get Dave on this show one of these days, one of these times. I miss having him on my channel here.
Yeah, yeah. He hadn't been doing the drama stuff much,
I
which
know.
that's the only thing I get into is I listen to what he does and
Oh man.
dissect things.
Oh man. Did you ever listen to Drama Diner 32?
I don't know by number.
Oh, dude, you got. Oh my gosh, dude. Oh, you're missing out. That had to be the best of all of them. That was the best. Oh man. Oh man, especially towards the end there. Wow. That's all I'm gonna say, dude. All right.
Yeah, if I get a chance, I'll check it out then.
Now, absolutely. Listen to the whole thing. Definitely. By the way, okay. So once again, we'll be spotlighting the mighty Black Sabbath this coming Thursday at, of course, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, of course. And for
Right.
Arknolia and Prince Donatello and myself, this is Arknolia and the Doctor, episode 68. You guys have yourself a good one. See you this Thursday.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah. Bye bye.
All right. All right.